And just moments ago, I spoke to Tony Blair, the Middle East Quartet envoy. I began by asking him what was the way forward for the peace process.
The next step following the quartet statement that was issued just a couple of hours ago is for the parties to meet within a month. Within 3 months, we've now said that they should present comprehensive proposals on borders and security. Within 6 months, make substantial progress on all issues, and the aim is to get a framework agreement not later than the end of next year. So the next step, if you like, alongside obviously what the Palestinians have done at the United Nations, is to get a negotiation going and for the parties actually to put on the table something so that they see the proposals of each other.
Mr. Blair, have both sides agreed to that timetable?
We're going to have to wait and see. The quartet's agreed, the international community's agreed, because I think particularly with the application the Palestinians have made to the United Nations for membership, I mean, that application now goes into a committee of admissions that analyses it. Is then got to come back to the Security Council. But whether it comes back in a positive way or not, I think depends enormously on whether we can get negotiations back together again. So I hope the Palestinians understand negotiations are important. And for the Israelis, it gives them the chance now to say to people, look, you said we weren't serious about negotiating, but we are, and here are our proposals.
Do you believe that the quartet can be the honest broker that seems to be missing in this process? We've heard so much discussion about the United States as being the power that should be the broker on a new round of talks. The United States seems to be marginalized if you listen to a lot of the pundits talk about what has transpired over the last 2 days. Is it now the place for the quartet to stand up, of course, including the United States? And can that body be the honest broker?
Well, I've obviously been working very closely with the US in the past few days, so, you know, I think it's somewhat of a big exaggeration to say they'd be marginalized in this. They've been very central to it. But I do think there's some value, actually, in having the Europeans involved, the Russians, obviously, and the international community. I mean, there's been a lot of close consultations with the Arab League as well, and with Arab countries and interested parties. I mean, I think the only way this works, though, in the end, is to try and define the issues and get the parties to present proposals on them. And then what we've actually said in the quartet statement today is the quartet will remain engaged to try and guide and shape this. And personally, I think that's the only way it's going to happen.
Well, I guess I come back to the question I asked just a moment ago. Do you believe Israel? Do you believe the Palestinians will agree to the quartet's statement, the quartet's timeline? I think that's probably where things stand, right? That's the answer that we need.
Yep, and my answer to you, since I don't speak for either of them, is I hope so. And I certainly think it should be so, because you've got a negotiation. What the Palestinians have constantly said is, look, there's no point in putting us together with the Israelis just sitting around a table talking endlessly. So give us a timeline. We have. They've also said, make sure the Israelis are obliged to show us their proposals. We have. And the Israelis say to us, look, we want to debate all the issues, and we want to debate them in a open way. So make sure that it's without delay and without preconditions that we get back around the table. So we've tried to address the concerns of both sides and say, okay, you know, it's not possible for the international community to set the parameters in as close a way as we'd like, although we came very, very close this week to doing so, I may say, and I think it's perfectly possible we may do it a future date. But nonetheless, we'll give you a scheduled timetable, and you guys put your proposals on the table. I mean, the big issue is obviously Palestinian state on 1967 lines with land swaps. Okay, let's see where the parties stand on that issue.
All right, let's spend